One Texas congressman has decided enough is enough on the high price of pharmaceuticals. Democrat Lloyd Doggett pressing the Obama administration to break the patents of some of those pharmaceuticals developed with taxpayer assistance. We believe he's on the line with us now, live from Washington. Congressman Doggett, can you hear us?
I can, and I'm hoping that some people here in Washington will hear, because these prices are, it's just really serious price gouging of too many Americans.
Let's talk about how breaking the patents would get the job done. Is it the threat, or are you talking about actually companies, just generics, coming in and charging less?
Well, what we're talking about is not a solution to the entire problem. I wish there were one pill we could take to get this Republican Congress to do its job on this and a host of other problems, but it is about where taxpayers actually paid for the research that leads to the pharmaceutical, and yet the pharmaceutical companies still gouge the taxpayer with these outrageous prices. So in those cases, there's an old law. Actually, Bob Dole was one of the authors of the law that says if the government, the taxpayers paid for it, the government has a right to go in when certain conditions are met, and license someone else to compete in order to get out the product in a way that it should be.
But now, as I understand it, though, this law has never been invoked in the past. And as you talk with members of the Obama administration, HHS, and those folks who would be responsible for making determination here, what are they telling you?
Well, they've been very reticent to act, and they've said, well, we'll look at it now on a case-by-case basis. What I wanted them to do was to set out some guidelines so that the manufacturers would know if their conduct was excessive and could avoid it. I think that would be a better approach. But they have one particular pharmaceutical out there right now to treat prostate cancer, paid for by government research, part of it through our military,
right? And
we're paying in America a price that is so much more than that charged in Japan and Sweden and Canada, and I just don't think it's right that if taxpayers pay, we ought, at least on those drugs, to be able to get a reasonable price.
I think the public face of this whole issue has been that the former CEO of Turing Pharmaceuticals, Martin Shkreli, who I guess, as everyone has heard by now, jacked up the price of one particular antiparasitic drug by 5,000% because he felt he could do it, that the market would support it. Right. Well, you say that, though, that this isn't about just one smug bad boy. I think those are your words.
Those are my words, and he certainly is a smug bad boy, and it was outrageous to have that price jump overnight 5,000%. But my larger concern is about the price increases that are going on across the industry.
But why is that happening now?
It is happening because there's not restraint from government, and there has not been forceful enough response to it. You take a company like Pfizer, which may be our largest manufacturer, it's charging Americans 12 times what it charges people in Ireland for the same pharmaceuticals. And yet it's been trying to get itself Irish taxes by heading over to Ireland and claiming it's based there. We've been able to slow that down or stop it, but we've not yet been able to get at this 12 times the price.
But, Congressman, you just raised something very interesting there. Some would say there are other ways of dealing with this if you opened up the closed marketplace for some of these drugs, which can, as you point out, sell for a fraction of the cost in Canada or Japan or in Sweden. Right now, if you want to try to buy, say, online from Canada, you can't do that. You're breaking the law.
And I've voted to change that law and to allow that competition. I think that's another way we might deal with this. The whole concept with reference to patents and the current administration is that on those drugs where the taxpayers paid the bill for the research, we need competition, and that's the idea of licensing a competitor to get in and help provide the pharmaceutical at a reasonable price. It's not a panacea. It's just one way of trying to address this problem. We need much more, and there are other things that this administration and certainly this do-nothing Congress could do if we could just overcome the tremendous amount of money that the pharmaceutical industry is dumping in lobbying and campaign contributions in influence peddling.
Congressman Lloyd Doggett represents the 35th District in Texas. Congressman, thanks very much for speaking with us today on The Standard.
Thank you.